S7 and S1, which is a nice transition, and it's good to be able to teach across those 2 year groups, which I really enjoy that part of my job as well. So I hope to spend maybe the first half of the time just talking you through what we've done with AI at ISA and the guidelines. We started off speaking about a policy, but policy is, it sounds all very formal, and we have certain approvals that policies need to go through. And because AI is changing so rapidly, we actually decided to call it guidelines because that's a more accurate description of what it is, and because it'll likely change all the time. And we don't want to have to be going through leadership and the board to just change something because of developments that have come along. And then speaking to teachers about what they thought would be useful, it's really sharing tools of things that you can go and use in the classroom. And I have got quotes from 6 or 7 different apps that are being used at ISA, and I asked teachers and they've come back with what they think is good about them. So hopefully that'll be helpful from the chalk face rather than just from me, who's generally in the background setting things up. AI, as you will all know, has been around for a very long time, but it really kicked off in a way that was going to impact schools dramatically when ChatGPT was launched in November 2022. And we realised straight away the impact this was going to have, potentially negatively from the cheating aspect, but also highly positively from the reduction in teacher workload that we saw could be achieved from using tools like this, and through educating the students to use it correctly, we saw technologies. So in our in-service day in February 2023, we introduced ChatGPT, which was a text-based, I'm sure you're all very familiar, text-based chatbot, and Night Cafe, which is an image generator, that we thought were 2 tools immediately that could have an impact on our staff. I'll share a link to this presentation, and through that there's a presentation. With ChatGPT, our focus really was on prompts, helping teachers to write the correct prompt that helps them in their lesson preparation. And the presentation there has got a few short video clips in it that we went through with our staff that really kick-started them into using ChatGPT in their lesson preparation. We then included AI in our new staff induction at the start of this academic year, and we set up a strategic initiative group, or a SIG, which is something that we have across the school. Everyone at ISA is invited to be part of a strategic initiative group each year. So some of them span many years, but this was a new one that was set up to form our policy, which then turned into guidelines. We hosted a Google Summit, which it was great to have some colleagues from across Scotland at in November, and the focus on that was AI in education. And many of the tools that I mention later are ones that people found out about at that Google Summit and have now been using for a number of months and found successful. And I've linked to the resources there. And then just before we wrote holidays, our guidelines document was approved by the leadership team. So we plan on doing quite a bit of work rolling that document out over the coming term. There is a link to the document there. In terms of credits, it was a group of teachers from across the school. We had junior school and senior school teachers involved in that, and we had leadership team positions too. It was also, we were kindly given access to some of our other international school documents. It's quite different from some of them, but in particular, the International School of Japan and an International School of Switzerland had both got ahead of the curve, and we were really grateful to have something that we could use as a starting point while we thought about ours. And therefore, here is ours. If you don't have guidelines or you're thinking about policy, I'm very happy for you to use this. document as a starting point or to pick and choose bits out of it. It's very much happy for that to be done. We began by defining AI. I'm not going to waste my time talking you through the whole guidelines. And we started with a statement of intent where we took our mission statement and our values and tried to really, we wanted it to be positive. We wanted to acknowledge what our aim was: excellence in education, safe and caring learning environment, learners for life, active global citizens. These are the words we use all the time at ISA. And we wanted to acknowledge that modern technology contributes to this and enhances it, but it must be used wisely in line with the values. So very important to us, these values are across the school, and it's very important to us that whatever we wrote aligned with our school values, and anything that you write, I'm sure you would likewise want to align it with yours. But straight away we thought there were some that jumped out, and integrity is the most obvious one when we're speaking about students' use of AI. But excellence too. If we want our students to produce the best work possible, they should be using the latest tools so that they can challenge themselves and access the best resources that are possible. We also wanted it to be something for the whole community. We didn't just want it to be a set of rules for the students. We want it to be helping the staff, the students, and the parents as we work together in the education of these young people. And just for a little bit of AI, this is not a diagram that I've ever used before, but as I was preparing this presentation, I went into one of the tools that we use a lot, Canva, which has an AI part now, Magic Studio. And I simply said to it, can you create a diagram to show the relationship between staff, students, and parents in a school? And it already knows our brand colours. So this was the diagram it came up with. It came up with a whole row of, like a Google search results, really, with lots of different diagrams. And I was able just to select this one because I thought it looked pretty. So there was an example of my AI use straight away. So our policy has 4 sections after our statement of intent. This is the first section. It's not long. As you can see, we didn't want it to be guidelines that were pages long that nobody would read. We wanted it to fit on a page and to be something that people could quickly look at and think, right, that's where we're at. That's what we have to do with AI. I've picked out the values here. We wanted to encourage everyone to show integrity, and that included teachers. One of the things we thought about was that students have to cite their sources whenever they're writing an essay, particularly further up the school. But we wanted teachers to be starting to, as I've just done on the previous slide, make it clear, I've used AI to create this worksheet, or I've used AI to get this diagram for you, so that they can see a role model example of how we can use tools to help us, but we have to cite that. We have to make it clear what we have used. We want the whole community to strive for excellence. We want us all to educate ourselves about prompts. And this, to me, I feel is really important. I do a lot of staff training, and I feel like a lot of the training in AI is going to be about prompts, how we get the best from these tools, how we express our prompts. Being aware of bias and potential errors, we should be validating everything, checking our sources, and then respecting personal data and remembering that anything that's typed into an AI system is probably getting sparrowed away somewhere and creating a profile of that user. And we thought it was important to mention the legal age limits, because when we're in all through school from 3 to 18, and when our high school teachers are getting really excited about using ChatGPT with their class, but our elementary school teachers can't do that because their class are under 13, and that's the age limit for 13. So we wanted to be very clear that we should be only using the tools that have appropriate age limits. We then thought about what we wanted staff to do, and that begins with having a baseline of student knowledge and skills, because Once you know your student well, you'll be able to know if the work that they are submitting has been assisted by artificial intelligence tools, and that will help us to make sure we help our students to work with integrity if we know their capabilities well. The clear guidance really that was quite important there, that they would give clear guidance on what is and is not allowed for a specific task so that the students know where they're at. They are already, especially in middle and high school, they're moving from subject to subject and teacher to teacher, and that can be confusing if one teacher allows something and the other doesn't. So it's very important that the teachers give clear guidance, and it's quite right that it may be different for different tasks within a subject or for different subject areas. For students, we ask that they follow the academic integrity policy, which is a separate board-approved school policy, and that they follow exam board guidelines for the use of AI. And obviously, when it comes to coursework and submissions, that is very important. But we've also got at the end there that if you're not sure, or if you'd like to use an AI tool, don't just do it and hope for the best. Use your voice, check with the teacher, and once the teacher has said, that's the advice that you should follow. And you'll be aware of the importance of that family relationship. And with everything we do, we want parents to be aware of what's going on. And I feel like with IT in particular, parents might not be aware of what's going on. When a student's up in the bedroom on their computer, it's hard. It's hard for parents to keep track of what's going on. So we want to always be encouraging them to be talking to their children about what they're doing on their devices. And the same goes for AI. And a lot of them don't have a clue how possible it is for a child to stick their homework into ChatGPT and have a perfect answer come out. So one of the steps we want to follow going forward is to have a parent information session and show them, and we hope to involve the students in that, showing them how they have successfully used it for their work. And we think that parents can then do a lot in terms of reinforcing academic integrity and going through that with their children. So I was about to finish up there, but I forgot. We're finishing up with an AI tools directory. So this is part of the guidelines, and it's unfinished. So if you take this presentation straight after this session and have a look at it, when you link through to the policy, you will see the tools directory is very much unfinished. But this is our next hope, to really have one place that students can go to, that staff can go to, that gives them a description of the tool, a link to the tool, who it's suitable for, and its suitable age. And that age restriction is based on the legal terms and conditions of the site. The descriptions here have all been created by Gemini, which is Google's renaming of Bard. So AI has been used on the start of this, and we hope to continue to use that just as something that's nice to do when we're talking about AI, to use AI to generate that. So this is something that we hope to do going forward. I have totally rattled through that, but you can all read and you will all have the resources. So I thought it was important that we didn't make it all about do's and don'ts, but that was what we were trying to achieve with our guidelines. Are there any questions coming up? I can't actually see anyone at the moment because I'm on full screen presentation, but is there any questions on that policy before I move on to some current instance?
No, nothing yet, Gail. I think the only thing is people are jealous that you're currently away while everybody's got a few more days to go before Easter break. But yeah, I agree. Harriet's just put in that this looks amazing. I take it there will be a link to download, or a QR code to scan and download these slides. Will that be at the end?
Yeah, I think just when I come out at the end, I'll just paste the link. I've got it ready just to paste into the chat. And
okay.
Anyone.
Great stuff.
There.
Okay.
So some current uses, which these are apps that we would recommend. Basically, QRepod is an AI-powered presentation tool. It is amazing. When I asked my teachers to volunteer. This was one that had come up at the Google Summit, and we have a number of teachers using it. And a science teacher said to me, Curipod, you have to tell them about that, and please can we buy the full premium version? Now, they've been using it. Various teachers have been using the free version, and it does a lot, but to get the premium version obviously gives you more. What she demonstrated to me was she uploaded her slides for a particular lesson. It was an IB lesson, a grade 11 science lesson. And Curipod took those slides within minutes in front of my eyes and inserted questions throughout her presentations that could be shared with class. So when she's teaching, instead of using her slides, she uses the Curipod. And when it gets to the particular question, the students on their devices all either answer random multiple choice. If you've used Kahoot or Quizlet or these types of programs, it's like that, but interspersed. Some of them involved them all being given mini whiteboards, and they could just write their answer. And then when she pressed reveal, all of their answers appeared on the screen, and they could all see each other's answers. And then they could all vote on each other's answers to decide which was the best without seeing whose was whose. They could just see all the whiteboards. There wasn't the humiliation of seeing name beside the answers if you hadn't got it right. They could just see all the answers. And then at the end of the lesson, it says these 4 students could do with further help. And when you click on each of those students, it tells you exactly what they needed further help on. It created feedback for the students, which she copied and pasted into Google Classroom. Really, I was so impressed. And I have got from Curipod a discount code that gives you a month free of the premium version as well. So recommendation, don't start the free trial until after the Easter holidays so that you get the best of it. But if you go to Curipod and click on sign up now, choose a monthly payment, but you don't have to put in payment details, you just put in the code CURIOUS. I'd highly recommend it, and you can see what my science teacher there has written about it, chemistry teacher here. Quizzes is again another quiz platform, but it now uses AI to create the quizzes. So it's already been there. Some of you may have used it before. Again, like Kahoot, Quizlet, one of these. But now you upload a PDF. And it was a social studies teacher who I spoke to here, and he uploaded a PDF and showed me that it just created a quiz for the students that they can then load it up. But instead of just them all answering it at the same time, where they could be looking at each other's screens and seeing what each other are putting, it randomizes it so they all get the questions in different orders, which seemed to work well. That was one of the advantages that this social studies spoke to me about. It also does this for web pages or websites. So if there's a website that you're getting students to use, not one that you've created necessarily, an existing web page, you can stick the URL in and it will create a quizzes based on that page. I was delighted when I had a look on the Did You Learn Scot blog, or Blow Scotland blog, that the instructions are there for how to get free access for your school. We've got that free access. It basically involves 5 teachers signing up and picking your school name. So if you're in a very small school, I'm not sure exactly how that would work. You might have to get the secretary involved and such like. But so long as you get 5 teachers to sign up, you get free access to the full AI version of quizzes, and it comes highly recommended. I'm sure that some of you are probably already using Canva. It's something that we use a lot for presentations, for infographics. But now it's got Magic Suite. So the image that I showed you about the community earlier was made in Canva. It also has, it's almost replacing Photoshop. And this was what the teacher that I spoke to about was speaking about when I was asking for recommendations. He was speaking about the fact that Photoshop is really quite difficult for younger students to use, but with Canva, they're able to do exactly the same thing in terms of photo editing, removing backgrounds and this sort of thing. Again, Canva is an expensive professional product, but all schools can sign up for a free education account. I've done it for ISA, and it's not the most straightforward. It does involve sending some documents to Canva to prove that you're a school. But once you are signed up, it's really a tool worth using without the AI part, and definitely now that we have the AI part. And they're starting to do video editing as well. It's not there yet. We've other tools that we would recommend for video editing before that, but given the way that Canva's going, I'm pretty sure that it's going to start to incorporate the video as well. Maybe Education Scotland can do something about the education accounts for the schools.
We have stuff. We have stuff through Glow, as well as some other things that are potentially coming through Glow. So we do have that. A lot of the stuff is done through Glow, in terms of the whole Scotland approach. So yeah, it is a bit tricky, but there are some things that are coming.
Yeah, because once you've got it, you see the little crown beside so many of the images and the sections. It's unlocked once you've signed up, and it is totally free. Night Cafe, it's an art generator, and basically you write a prompt and it creates an image. So where you describe, it creates. I'm sure you've seen some of these online, even deep fakes. It will use celebrities in particular. If you name a celebrity that it knows, it will be able to create an image about them in a particular location. This English teacher who I spoke to said that he just could not believe the book covers that were created for Lord of the Flies, which were based on images that students themselves. I believe that one student started creating theirs and used Night Cafe to get a background image, and then the others saw it and they all started doing it. There's lots of image generators out there. I think Adobe Firefly. There are various different ones now within Canva. There's actually image generation, but this one, Night Cafe, we really like, and this English teacher was raving about the book covers. There's a beautiful display of them up in school now that do look like very professional book covers. So we'd recommend that. Again, this is completely free, and it's something that students of any age can use. It doesn't have an age limit, so that's really quite nice that some of the younger students can get involved with that as well. Yeah, I thought I missed one there. Magic School is a free tool. There's no need to get a premium, but it creates lesson plans. It does differentiation built in there. It can be used for assessments. And this is a quote from a junior school teacher, a primary school teacher, so we use different terminology. And actually, although it's not in the quote here, this teacher spoke about how she has one new student who this year with absolutely no English. She's a primary 4 teacher, actually, had no English whatsoever. And using Magic School, every worksheet that she created, or every piece of writing, prompt that they were using, she is now just using Magic School as a translator. And she finds it really useful compared to other translators that we've generally used Google Translate on iPads in the past, but she finds that doing it with Magic School is the best way that she's found. So if you have English as a second language or additional language students in your class, the Translate part of Magic School is recommended. No Reading, we're back at a different English teacher this time, who's speaking about No Reading. We do have a subscription. There's a free part, but at ISA we do have a subscription, so I'm not sure where the breakdown between what's free and what's paid is. That's why I moved this one down to the end of my list. But when you're writing an essay, instead of just write an essay, it breaks it down into, introduction, and it'll have some tips about what you should have in an introduction, opening paragraph, second paragraph, and talks them through it. And especially at that primary 7 to S2 stage, when they're starting to learn about how to structure different essay types, it's something that we found really useful. And it now has an AI-powered grading assistant that will give feedback to the students as they go. But it also shows their progression. So as a teacher, you're not just seeing the end result, you're seeing how they've got to the end result, which is really useful. And a teacher spoke to me about it. It's not one that I've used, and it's not one that we've really advertised amongst the school, but someone used it for actually planning a scheme of work. And I thought, well, that's something we haven't really gone down that line. Everything we've spoken about is about single lessons. And this is maybe what we need to look at next in terms of using it for planning whole schemes of work. And this teacher recommended Almanac, and it looks free. So I thought I would stick it in there. Just jump back. I realised that if I was teaching a lesson, this is not the best way of teaching a lesson. I've spoken very quickly about lots of different things with no interaction, but I hope it's been useful, and I hope you'll be able to go away and have a look through and find something that you can take away from this session that's useful in your school. So I'm going to can I get into the chat content?
You can't, unfortunately, because you're coming from external. But if you email Kirsty with the link, what we will do is we'll put a blog post on afterwards. We're going to get all of these calls and everything that is taking place this week. We are going to get them